What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. We got some major news here that is going to potentially lead to striking news here, could lead to something I want to say catastrophic, could lead to the start of World War III, could lead to nuclear war. This could be the stepping stone that leads us there. Let me show you here. Check this out. Okay, the voting, I'll put quote, voting in the Russian occupied regions of Ukraine along their Ukrainian territories controlled by Russians. They've been overtaken by Russian military. The voting is complete and the votes are in. You can see one of the voting booths here. They're literally with Russian military, armed men there with AKs, for lack of a better word. The other thing that has happened here is that these men, for the several days before this, these Russian military men went door to door to people's homes. Think women, children, and men if they were home and not at their jobs or anything like that, and asked them to vote. And if they voted, they were basically there by armed military men saying, who do you want to vote for? Then the votes were taken back by Russian officials and counted by Russian officials. So how do you think this vote ended up? You can already guess how this vote ended up. The world already knew how this vote was going to end up as Russia counted the votes, took them back to wherever Russia counted the votes, and underneath this type of distress, imagine you're sitting there with your two kids and two armed men from Russia's military comes in to your house and says, who do you want to vote for? Do you want this territory to be part of Russia or to be part of Ukraine? And they're standing there with AKs. And meanwhile, don't forget that they just bombed your city a few days or a few weeks ago and took over this city by force. We know what's happened here. Well, here's the results of these votes. You can let me know your thoughts on this. The four Russian-occupied regions of Ukraine appeared to vote overwhelmingly in favor of joining the Russian Federation, according to Russian state media. Ukraine and its international partners have dismissed the highly controversial referendums as shams and a violation of international law. The Russian-run referendum votes took place over 5 days from September 23rd through September 27th, despite international outrage. The referendums are widely viewed as the initial Kremlin move towards formal Russian annexation of the territories, even as the exact timetable remains clear. Results reported Tuesday by Russian state media allegedly shows that over 98% of Ukrainians voted in favor of the measure to apparently become part of Russia, who's attacking them with bombs and nuclear threats and under distress of, you can literally see the pictures here. Apparently 98+% of Ukrainians voted to become part of the attacker and to become part of their country, to become part of the invader. Does that sound right to you that they would want to become a part of the invader's country? 98% of them? Yeah, so over 98% in favor in two regions, Donetsk and Luhansk. 93% in Zaporizhia, and 87% in the Kurhans region. Now, just for comparison, let's look at the US elections when we vote for a president. When we look at the 2020 election results, Joe Biden ended up with 51.3% of the vote. Trump ended up with 46.9% of the vote. 46.9 will round up to 47. Biden will round to 51. 51 to 47%. Pretty close, within a few percent. It surely wasn't 99, 98% one way or the other. Let's look at the previous election, which Trump won. So what's interesting here in the 2016 election, some people say that, Donald Trump was robbed in that election. But, Democrats could say the same thing in the 2016 election because Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote here by, let's see here, 63, 65, almost like 3 million votes here. But Donald Trump was actually declared the winner because of the Electoral College. Okay. So Hillary Clinton actually won the popular vote. She had more votes by somewhere around a little bit less than 3 million votes. But Donald Trump was declared the winner. Okay. But regardless here, you look at the percentages here, Hillary Clinton had 48%, Donald Trump had 46% for round numbers. But again, the point here is that it was nowhere near 98%, 93%, 87%. It was a very close election, both times. Now, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you think that Ukraine being bombarded by bombs, schools being destroyed, hospitals being destroyed, thousands and thousands of people being massacred, millions of people have fled the country. Russia is having people flee the country now that they're under a draft. In fact, their planes, their airlines have been sold out with people fleeing the country now that Putin has called a draft in. Their airlines have literally been sold out as people have been fleeing the country here. Do you think that Ukrainians would vote in a 99, 98, 87%? Because again, there was 4 different elections. Does that sound real to you? Or does it maybe sound like one of two things or both things happened, that these people were literally kind of forced to vote that way under distress of gun? You ever heard the term being forced to do something at gunpoint? Or 2, Russia just took the votes back and counted them, made them however they wanted because they weren't counted in public. Russia just took them back and counted them however they wanted. They were under Russian control. It's not like here in the US where they're counted in public. When you look back at our elections, in fact, the states, all the states, a lot of our states actually counted them, recounted them, recounted them, recounted them. And we actually had a lot of, they went through different judges went over them and different things like that. We had several different states go over the recounts, all sorts of things like that happen. Do you think Russia's doing that? And don't forget that this is what Ukraine looks like. Do you think that this is what the Ukrainian people want to vote for? They want to vote for Russians after this is what Russia has done to them? Oh yeah, Russia, we know that you've completely destroyed our homes. You've bombed us. And our family members are dead, but sure, we want to become part of your regime. Yeah, that sounds logical, right? That'd be like just a few months ago here. You could see right here, I covered this here in an episode or two ago. Top Russian lawmakers threaten Russia may reclaim Alaska, just like they're they're going to be reclaiming Ukraine here, part of Ukraine. I'll get to that here in a second. Top Russian lawmakers threatened that they could try to reclaim Alaska because hundreds of years ago, the U.S. actually bought Alaska from Russia. Okay, you can see here the first permanent Russian settlement was established in Alaska in 1784. Russia proceeded to establish several settlements in Alaska until it was purchased from Russia by the U.S. government for $7.2 million in 1867. And basically, several of these Russian former Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev and several Russian lawmakers are basically saying that Russia could say they want it back. That sale was an illegitimate sale. It wasn't a correct sale. It was null and void. It was under false pretenses, blah, 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 blah. And they could hold a referendum vote and they could claim it as theirs. It's the same exact type of scenario, right? Now, and then they could say, oh, the Alaskan people want to be part of Russia. This is the same exact type of crap that Russia pulls along the world, okay? Now, take this same type of scenario? They literally said this. It's in the media. It's in the news, okay? Do you really think that 99% of Ukrainians, after being bombed and killed by Russia, want to become part of Russia? 99%? Maybe some of them do. Maybe some of them do. But do you think 99% of them do? It just doesn't even seem realistic. But here's what's going to happen next, okay? Here's the real problem here. Putin is expected to proclaim annexation of Ukraine territory within a few days. So he's just going to claim this territory as Russia now. So these thousands of square miles, he's going to basically say, well, now it's Russian territory. Imagine if he did this with Alaska. Yeah, exactly. Now you're kind of thinking this through here, because this is basically what he did with Ukraine. He just held a sham election. Who knows if the votes are real? They're probably not. Again, he, did this at gunpoint to people. And again, just think of the pretenses of what this happened. And now Putin is going to say, oh, well, now this is Russian territory. And you can't attack Russian territory at all. If anybody attacks Russian territory at all, single bullet, we can use nuclear weapons to defend it. We can use any means necessary. This is the problem. And this is a major, major problem here. You can see here from Politico. Russia's war in Ukraine. U.S. steps up intel, surveillance on Putin's nuclear threats. But Washington worries that the first signs of a possible nuclear attack may come too late. Could Putin do it? Well, by the time he's already threatened it. They've physically said it multiple times. And, well, by the time it might not be a threat anymore, it could just be too late. We could literally wake up one morning and go from, well, that's just a threat to, oh, Putin just dropped a nuclear bomb on Ukraine. Now, whether it's going to be on this region of Ukraine that they're going to claim as Russia, or whether it's going to be on another part of Ukraine like Kyiv, the capital city, where there's really not Russian army there because they can't penetrate Kyiv, who knows? There's millions of people there, okay? We're basically dealing with a madman here, Hitler 2.0. And I get a lot of comments saying, why would somebody do something like this? It would be like saying, why did Hitler take over country after country after country? Why did Hitler do that? Look at what Putin's doing. He's taking over country after country after country. He took over Crimea. Now he's taking over thousands of miles of Ukraine. We're talking about millions of people here. And again, if you just look at what he's doing, it's basically saying, oh, yeah, we held the vote. They want to become part of Russia. Look at what they did with Crimea. They just took over Crimea and, oh yeah, now they're part of Russia as well. And again, if you look at the similarities of what Hitler did and what Putin's doing, it's eerily similar. Just take over country after country until somebody stops you. Look at all the people that are dying. The problem here is that Putin has nuclear bombs, about 6,000 of them. That's a real big problem because if one single nuclear bomb is fired by Putin, imagine the consequences of that. It would be catastrophic. It would be catastrophic. And I don't even know what's going to happen, truthfully. The US doesn't either. If you just read some of the headlines and what the US is saying, the US has basically said that they have sent private communications through a network that they have to communicate with Russia. And they've basically said that they've sent like whatever, they're not telling the public media what their consequences are, but they've basically said don't use nukes or it's going to be the worst grave consequences that they can send them. What happens if he uses a nuke on Ukraine? Do we start World War III? Do we attack back? What happens next? You let me know your thoughts here, but nobody wants a nuclear exchange. There's no winners here. What happens next? We can't. I don't even know what to think. Yeah. So I'm really not sure what happens here next because probably within the next few days, Russia's going to say, "All right, we've now claimed thousands of miles of Ukraine. It's no longer Ukraine; it's now ours. We're just claiming the territory. It's ours, and now you're not going to have it anymore." So imagine if they did something like this to Alaska. Imagine if they just said, "Oh, that sale from 1800s, it's null and void. That was under false pretenses. That wasn't a legitimate sale. Alaska's not part of the U.S. anymore. And if you don't give us back that land, we're gonna shoot nukes at you." And then this is something that Russia could legitimately do. This is how Putin is. This is how he thinks. I mean, just listen to what he says. He's literally threatened nuclear bombs like every week. So, and then you're trying to like deal with somebody like this. How do you even deal with somebody like this? Let me know your thoughts here in the comments. We're gonna have to see because I don't even know what's gonna happen. It's ridiculous. Also, on a side note here, I was reached out by a viewer of our channel named Gabby, who wanted me to show this on our channel. She says, "I want your help, and I wanted you to show this to your viewers to help bring Jasmine Cassis home." I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Help bring Jasmine home. Jasmine from California left her home on September 22nd, 2022, and was last seen at the George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, Texas on September 25th, 2022. Jasmine also goes by Jas, short for Jasmine, age 18, brown eyes, black hair, 5'2", 150 pounds. It says here, I'm going to zoom this in here a little bit so you can see these pictures here. Please call your local police department or 909-343-7104 if you have seen her. They're trying to find her. Okay, here's her pictures. Let me come out of the screen corner here so you can see her. Okay, so if you have seen her or anybody that looks very similar to her, please call this phone number. Again, she was last seen in George Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston, but then she also said in her message that she's possibly in Pensacola, Florida. Pensacola, Florida, which is right where the hurricanes is right now. So And again, my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody dealing with the hurricanes right now. It's getting really bad. So let me know your thoughts here on everything. I'll keep you up to date here. The SNAP Food Stamp Conference is going on right now. So I don't have all the information yet. So hopefully I'll have that for you here in the later video here today. Hopefully we'll see major news here on that. Raises, we'll have to see. I didn't have, it's literally going on here right now. So remember that new videos come on here every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel. It's completely free to do so. And I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. You can click here to watch my newest video next, and you can click here to see my video about checks that are going out here on October 7th. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.